Mariah May is now in the WWE, but we got a ton of backstage details, and it looks like her name is being changed. Also, we got to talk about more WWE releases coming. And yes, we are going to talk about the WWE superstar who is being stalked. There was an arrest made at the Performance Center. It's all coming up right here on The Ango Show. If you guys want more videos like this, go ahead and click subscribe. Don't forget, we're on the way to 100,000 subscribers, and your support is greatly appreciated. Liv Morgan has a stalker, and it appears that the stalker was actually arrested. Wow, this is absolutely insane. There's somebody who has been stalking Liv Morgan, and we hear of these stories pretty often, actually, where people try showing up at the Performance Center. They try to get their hands on a talent. Basically, a legit stalker was arrested yesterday outside of the Performance Center. There was multiple bags taken from police officers. This came from Naji, or Naji. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. But this is a Twitter user on X who often visits NXT in the Performance Center. This report was originally by that individual, and then it was confirmed by Fightful and Sean Ross Sapp. Basically, yeah, there has been multiple attempts, and WWE obviously takes this stuff very seriously, as you guys saw with the whole Sonya Deville situation. This is just really insane to think about, honestly, with a stalker and the WWE Performance Center, and just, man, so many negative stories like this. It's not a good look, especially at all. I mean, it's not a good look in general, but for wrestling fans, dude, like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys thinking? It's just one of those things where you can't behave like this. You can't behave like this at all. And it's one of those things where not only does it just give wrestling fans a terrible look, but like, this is going to prevent WWE from maybe some of the leniency that they have when it comes to fan interactions. Yes, WWE has great security detail at the Performance Center, and yes, you know, the police are involved, and that's great, but man, like, wrestlers are WWE is gonna take more safety precautions, and once that happens, like, people's lives will be at risk. You know, when you're putting somebody else in harm's way, that just becomes a major problem. And it's crazy how many stories we are hearing about this. This is not the first time, obviously, but when it comes to the Performance Center, and maybe for the fact that it's, you know, accessible to fans and it's free, you know, with NXT and everything, I don't know why people have this whole notion that they think they can get away with it, but they're not going to be able to. I'm glad to see WWE has stepped it up. Performers' safety matters. Glad to see that it's been taken care of. All right, guys, obviously WWE has been making cuts. We are fully aware of that. There's been a lot of talk about potential releases coming. And of course, there's a lot of speculation because of the fact that we just saw R-Truth and Carlito basically not be re-signed with the WWE. Sarah Logan as well. Now, Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer are talking about this, and I understand we got to take things with a grain of salt when talking about it, but as somebody who talks about things that are constantly happening in professional wrestling, I think this is a massive topic. I think we need to have these conversations that WWE is very well going to have more talent leaving the company, right? They have all these new talents coming into the company. WWE, TKO are not going to continue paying out a crap ton of money for talent that they're not using or have no plans to utilize. So injury-prone talent are definitely going to be on that list. Talent who may, you know, obviously with NXT, we know that there's a system in place where if they don't feel like talent are getting better, if they don't feel like people are developing, they're going to be cut. But just in general, when you look at the wide scope of things in the WWE with their entire roster, not only if you're injury prone, maybe there's a way for WWE to kind of work with the talent on that. But I think WWE is also naturally going to look at the talent who aren't getting over. And what I mean by that is, like, there's certain talent that exists in WWE where WWE doesn't necessarily book them to win, or WWE doesn't necessarily book them at all. And therefore, these talents aren't being given the opportunity to even showcase what they can do or get over with the crowd. And those are the talents that WWE probably would be cutting. But also, what's really tricky about this situation is the fact that WWE has actually released talent while they're in the middle of a storyline, while they're even over in general. So I would actually like to think that there are no longer any rules or guidelines or principles as to how WWE will cut talent. Like, it doesn't matter if you're getting a pop. It doesn't matter if you're popular. It doesn't matter if you sell merch. As a business, I think what they're going to look at is, if we cannot find something for you to do with substance, we're probably going to let you go. Now, it is interesting because WWE with Valhalla, R-Truth, and of course Carlito, those three are not being extended, meaning they're not actually being released. So I am curious to see if WWE will actually cut talent in the middle of their contract, or if WWE would just let their contracts run out. I would prefer the latter. If you let the contracts run out, at least you fulfilled the contract. And that brings us to our final topic. Ladies and gentlemen, Mariah May showed up in WWE NXT. Everything happened so quickly. This is literally just like the Ricky Saints situation all over again. However, there's a lot of details that you guys need to know. Mariah May has officially signed a multi-year contract with WWE, and she made her debut, obviously, last night on NXT. Now, this was expected by many people in AEW, especially within WWE. However, Fightful is also reporting that WWE kept the very specifics of her debut very quiet, as they didn't want it to leak. So there was actually a very tight circle of people who officially knew that Mariah May was officially joining the company. Now, with that being said, it's also been reported that with Mariah May and her WWE career, she is expected to get a name change. This was reported by WrestleVotes. And TC from WrestleVotes also confirmed this as well. So WWE is in fact changing the name for Mariah May, which is why between her backstage segment for social media and her on-air thing, they didn't actually reveal her name as Mariah May. Now, I think that's a problem. I understand why name changes happen. I've talked about this several times on the channel, but I want to be very clear here. I think if you're going to do a name change for Mariah May, you cannot make it a subtle change. I mean, it has to be a subtle change. It cannot be this explosive, crazy change. Ricky Starks, Ricky Saints. Mariah May, Mariah Ray. Like, it has to be a very, very small, noticeable difference if you're going to do the name change at all. I think they should actually just keep her name, to be honest. I think that's what they should do. But if you're going to change it, don't change it too different. This is how WWE operates. She's fully aware of that. She knew that before signing with the company. Some people are going to be disappointed by it, but I will be disappointed if it's an outrageously weird name change. But if it's not, I'm okay with it. So it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want more videos like this, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.